Everybody, welcome to another episode of Windshield Time, the podcast where we help you use your windshield time to turn learning into earning. Windshield Time is, of course, brought to you by Service Excellence. I am Chris Elmore, your host, and this is the first in a series of short episodes of Windshield Time featuring me, all on my lonesome. We do have Alex in the studio, and today, on this episode of Windshield Time, we're going to talk about what is your job. Stay tuned. All right, everybody. I've had requests, and we finally managed to find a microphone cable long enough in this luxurious, well-equipped studio. Alex, it took you, 8 episodes to find a microphone cable? Long enough to reach, how far are you from me? 10 feet at the most?
It's a tall order.
So everybody hears you now, Alex?
They do hear me, yes.
You're welcome, everybody. You are now hearing Alex's voice. And he said, no one wants to hear my voice. But I think you do. Because several of you have asked about Alex. So everybody, Alex Walker.
Hello.
That's where you put in the applause sound effect.
Oh, believe me, I will be adding lots of applause for that.
It's cedar fever time here in Austin. Is it cedar fever or is the oak pollen? What is it now?
I think it's cedar.
Cedar, okay. So if you don't have allergies in your life, move to Texas. That's what I can tell you about Texas. I have an Australian friend who says, in Australia, the animals are trying to kill you, and in Texas, it's the plants that are trying to kill you. And he's not wrong. So today I want to talk to you about something, just me, just between us. I want to talk to you about a perspective on your job. Now, I've had it many times where I've asked technicians, can you tell me your job? And I usually get some version of customer service, take care of the client, fix the problem, those kind of things. And those are all not wrong. But I think we have a greater responsibility. And I think even in some of those responses, there's more to that response that is behind it. When I ask the question, what is your job? I think technicians, there's more behind just those simple answers they give, because I think inherently we all feel this inside. And I just want to remind you, I use the term technicians to describe any in-home sales and service person that is working with technical equipment. So if you're an electrician, don't get offended that I call you a technician. If you're a plumber, don't get offended or think I'm only talking about HVAC if I talk about a technician. Because what I've learned in my 25 years of coaching, training, traveling around and meeting technicians and business owners is that every trade, no matter how simple it looks on the outside to other technical people or to homeowners, it's technical. You have to learn a lot. You got to know a lot about complex systems and things like that in order to do what you do. So when I say technicians, I'm talking to everybody. So let's talk about your job. And I'm going to define your job in 5 parts. And I'll unpack each one as we go. So the first part of your job is to discover and document the status of the entire system at that moment in time. Now, I want you to think about that. Let's break it down. There's 2 action words in that. First is discover, diagnose, investigate, uncover. All that in that action word of discover. That's what it means, to find out, right? And most of you are troubleshooters anyway. At your heart, that's what you are. You're a troubleshooter. And you troubleshoot everything, not just whatever particular trade you're in, the systems you're working on. So you understand what discover means. So that's the action word there. That's the verb, discover. Okay? But there's another one that's equally as important for you, and that is to document what you find. Document the status. But we document the status, if you think about that, it's not just writing down the problem. It's also documenting the status of good things. You know, we talk about a checklist, and this is where we document it, that it's the most effective in communicating with the customer. Now, of course, diagnosing, you've got years of experience doing that. You may have been to trade school, whatever. You know how to diagnose. And if you don't, you get help from another technical person that knows how to diagnose. And so you know what that process is like inherently. You're using meters and gauges and your eyes, your senses, you know, you're doing that to discover. But I want to hone in really on the document part. And the checklist is a great way to do that. Now, what other ways do you document? You put notes in your system, whether it's no matter what brand, what software you're using, but you're documenting that way too by writing your narrative of what happened on the call. You're also documenting by taking pictures or videos. You're documenting. But that checklist is the piece that bridges the communication gap between you and the customer. That's the first thing. And so that first part of your job, discover and document. Those are the action words. But then the status, okay? So we talked about it's not just bad things, it's also the things that are good. So we're going to discover and document the status, and the next part is important, of the whole system, of the entire system. Now, I know some people, oh, well, I'm only going to fix the thing they called me to fix, or I'm only going to check what they called me to check because that's what they want. They don't want me checking a bunch of other things. Well, obviously, I'm going to disagree with that, because if you come to my house and I have you work on my plumbing system, and let's say it's no hot water, you diagnose, you fix my water heater, whatever it is that was causing me not to have any hot water, but then a week later, a drain backs up, or a week later, something somewhere else in the house starts leaking. Maybe it's a toilet starts running all the time. In the customer's mind, you're connected to that. You know, you were just there. You just touched the plumbing system, and before you touched it, that thing wasn't happening. Now, if it's something that is obvious that they caused, like let's say you worked on the water heater and now their master bathroom toilet is stopped up, but they know that their kid flushed 2 Transformers down it, or some Paw Patrol cars or figures or whatever, then obviously they know what it was, and they're not going to say, oh, well, you know, Alex, you're the plumber, you were here before, you must have done something or forgot something. So that's why it's important that we document or discover and document the status of the entire system, the whole system, at that moment in time. For so many reasons, but number one is to protect yourself and the company, to prevent something being labeled a callback that's not a callback. Because whether it is or not, if the customer thinks it is, that causes friction with the call taker. That could have a situation where the customer is wanting to have you come back out at no charge, or maybe even wants some sort of refund or something like that. So it just creates a customer service incident. Now, that's an opportunity to really shine, but if we don't get it right, it could be a point of frustration for a customer they may tell others about. And so when you go to a home, documenting the status, discovering and documenting the status of the entire system, that has to happen for you to fix or correct or whatever is going on. If you present the diagnosis and discovery of the entire system beyond just what they called you about as an add-on or a courtesy or included, it's very easy for a customer to tell you not to do that. So you have to make that entire system part, that has to be part of finding the solution to the problem they called you about. On a maintenance call, they expect it. On a safety inspection, they expect you to do it, the whole thing. But number one, step one, your job is to discover and diagnose the status of the entire system at that moment in time. So that's number one. Now remember, I told you there were 5 parts. So number two is to tell the customer what it's going to take, not only to fix it, so fix it. So there's 4 other things. And by the way, I'm holding up my hand here, and we can argue about it, but I'm probably going to win. The thumb is the most important digit on your hand, right? Would you say that's true, Alex?
Yep.
Because that's what you grip things with, right? Without that, it's hard to grip things, right? You can't be dexterous enough.
It's evolution.
Dexterous, Alex. That's the word I used today.
That's a good one.
So think of it as fixing it is the most important thing. It doesn't mean that it's the only thing or you do that before you do anything else. We just know that you're there to fix it if they called you for a problem, okay? So think of it as the thumb. That's the most important. So the most important thing is fix it. But the other 4 fingers here, your job is to tell the customer, second part, tell the customer what it's going to take not only to fix it, but what it's going to take to make it work the best, last the longest, be the safest, and be the most reliable. Now, that's a lot. I'm going to repeat it. Fix it, make it work the best, last the longest, be the safest, be the most reliable. Your job is to tell the customer what it's going to take to do that, even if it means replacement of a major component or the whole system. Now, I'm going to repeat that. Second part of your job is to tell the customer what it's going to take to fix it, make it work the best, last the longest, be the safest, be the most reliable, even if it means replacing a major component or the entire system. Now, in the trades, that can mean a lot of different things depending on the trade. Air conditioning or HVAC, it means replacing the whole HVAC system. In electrical, it could mean a rewire, but it could also mean a panel change or a service upgrade. In plumbing, replace the whole water heater, a repipe, or other major components. So in that, fixing it, I think most of you guys, you obviously get that's your part of your job. But you have to tell them what it's going to take to do that. And that fix gets it working, but it also might mean make it work the best, last the longest, be the safest, be the most reliable. These things tend to be yellow items that you would find on your checklist. Fixing it, that's the red items. Make it work the best, last the longest, be the safest, be the most reliable. Well, what does it mean to make it work the best? It means to get it as close to factory condition and like new as it's possible to do. That means cleaning, replacing components, things like that. Last the longest. Now, Alex, if I ask any of these guys that are listening, guys and gals that are listening, how long could you make a thing run as long as you could get the parts for it? And they would say, forever. You know what movie that's from, Alex?
You got me on that one.
What about You're Killing Me, Smalls?
I know that line, don't know the movie.
That's a shame. The Sandlot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. But you guys would probably say you can make it work forever. And that's true. But last the longest here doesn't mean last forever. It means to get it to its useful lifespan. Whatever that lifespan is. A water heater, anywhere from 6 to 10 years. HVAC system, 10 to 12, maybe 15 years in some more milder climates. Electrical system, panels, 30, 40 years, those kind of things, other components. I don't know about you, Alex, but I wouldn't want to be plugging things into a 2-prong outlet that's 40 years old. Would you?
No, absolutely not.
So last the longest means they get the normal and maybe a little bit of extended useful life out of it. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we make sure it has maintenance. We make sure things are clean and adjusted and are operating like they're supposed to be. Okay, be the safest. How do we make something the safest? Well, obviously, we make sure that we handle anything that's a potential hazard or any operating condition that could come about that would be hazardous. And so if you're an electrician, that's open junction boxes. It could be the fact they don't have in-use covers on outdoor outlets or things like that. It could be that they don't have GFCI protection where they're supposed to, or even AFCI protection if it's code or whatever it's required. But all those could be unsafe conditions. You know, plumbing, what could be an unsafe condition? Anytime there is the chance of sewer gases or raw sewage, that's gross, and yeah, that's a hazardous condition. So think of safe as for pets and the home too, because all of these we got to be thinking about three things: the customer, their home, and their system. And so it's got to be safe for them. And so every trade has safety items that we need to make sure are done. And it's our responsibility to inform the customer because we're the experts. And then lastly, be the most reliable. What does that mean? That means that it is free as it possibly can be from breakdowns in the future. Now, we can't control whether they made something improperly at the factory or it just breaks. Because, Alex, did you know that stuff just breaks?
I guess so.
Yeah. So we can't control those things. But being the most reliable means we've done the things to give it the best chance of not having breakdowns. So that's what it means. So, again, part 2 of your job. Tell the customer what it's going to take to fix it, make it work the best, last the longest, be the safest, be the most reliable, even if it means replacing a major component or the entire system. Now, the reason I put that in there is because price bias can come into all of those things. Fixing it, work the best, last the longest, be the safest, be the most reliable, a major component or the whole system. Price bias can come into that. Sometimes we sell out of our own wallet. We should never do that. We might avoid talking about a costly major component replacement or even an entire system replacement because we have price bias towards it, meaning we don't think the customer can afford it or, man, that's expensive because that's what we think. And so that is why, even if it means replacement of a major component or the entire system is in there, that's why we do that. That's why I say that. So that's number 2. Number 3 is you have to help the customer figure out how to get the best thing done. And yes, Alex, plug your ears because you may not want to hear this, but that means, guys, you have to handle objections. That's right. You got to leap, listen, empathize, ask questions, problem solve. Leap is a way to troubleshoot a problem with a relationship, with when you're dealing with another person. It's a way to troubleshoot the situation and try to figure out the best solution going forward. And you can do it in your personal, everyday life, or when someone's talking to you, when you're asking a customer to spend money, or maybe even when you're asking a customer or going into their home or you need to do something that maybe they don't understand why, so they're trying to keep you from doing it until they understand more. That could be when you present the checklist. I don't want you doing all that. Okay, well, we got to handle that because we have to do it to make sure it's safe to work on and also that so we can put a warranty and guarantee on our work. We have to do the whole system. But we have to handle objections and we have to help the customer figure out. Another way to say this is we got to persuade the customer to do what's best for their home, their system, and themselves from the standpoint of being a P. Do you know what a P is, Alex?
A person?
Not the letter P.
Oh, no, I don't.
A PEA. What is that?
PEA?
Mm-hmm.
You got me on that one.
You've never eaten peas before?
Oh. Well, you said it like it was an acronym.
It is an acronym, but I was trying to bait you into saying like something you eat, and you didn't do it. Thanks, Alex. Maybe the microphone was a bad idea. But a PEA, that's what you are. You are a professional expert authority. Professional, we can define professional in many, many different ways: appearance, body language, those kind of things, experience. Expert, you know what you're doing, and you have the confidence to do to find the solution, and you have confidence in your solutions. Authority, what does that mean? That means you are coming from a place of being a professional expert, and you should be listened to. So, as a professional expert authority, your job is to help them, to persuade them Help them figure out how to get done what's best for them, their home, and their system right then. So that means we handle objections. We do a great presentation and those kind of. The presentation really comes from step 2, but it comes into step 3. You have to help the customer figure out how to get the best thing done for their home, for themselves, and for their system. So that's number 3. Number 4, we're finally there. Do the work. The solution that the customer has chosen, you do that. Or you facilitate getting it done by an install crew or having a comfort advisor or estimator come out if it's a bigger type job. You do the work that they've chosen. And what they've chosen most of the time should be what you recommended. So we finally get there. To those of you out there who might think your job is to fix it, well, if that's the case, you can't do your job every time. Because sometimes the customer says no. So if the customer says no, how can you do your job if your job is to fix it? So that means your customer controls you doing your job. And I say, we can only fix it. We can only get to step 4 if we do step 1, 2, and 3 well. And even then, the best situation below 95% of the time. But what we can do is 1, 2, and 3 100% of the time. So consider that. And there's a 5th one I've added. The 5th one is you have to secure the future with the customer. That means referrals. That means reviews. That means memberships. So we have to secure that future with the customer because we want to come back. We want to be the one they ask for. The company and or the tech. We want those to be what they want because of the experience they got. Because you know what? They got it from you, the professional expert authority. So, again, to define what your job is as a professional expert authority, number 1, to discover and document the status of the whole system at that moment in time, and to tell the customer what it's going to take to fix it, make it work the best, last the longest, be the safest, and be the most reliable, even if it means replacement of a major component or the entire system. Then to help the customer figure out how to get the best thing done for their home, themselves, and their system right then. And the last thing is you secure the future with that customer. And so that's it. That's your job. I know there's a lot there, but ultimately, when I sat down to think about what truly is the job of a technician, a professional expert authority technician, that's it, those 5 things. So think about it. Guys, if you want to talk to me more about this, you can reach me at on my new iPhone 17, 254-733-7109. Don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to text. Or you can email me at elmore@servextra.com, servextra.com. It's also our website. Check out the website because you'll notice the website's going through some changes and they're awesome. It makes it easier for you to find what you need and find any of the free resources we have up there. You can find more information on our coaching and training programs and our upcoming workshops. So check it out. Also find episodes of the podcast, like and share it, send me suggestions for topics. But remember this, at Service Excellence, we help you turn learning into earning. Bye, everybody.